I can't hear you, Matt. Don't know if you can hear me. Can you hear me? No. I can't hear you.
Whew, there we go.
Now.
There we are. Hello, everybody.
Hi.
Hello. It seems that some people can hear me and some people can't hear me, but we must refresh so that everybody can hear me. So still not unraveled why that is, but hello, everyone. Hello. Welcome to Wednesday's webinar for the 12th of August. And it's great to see everyone. Thank you for joining. All good now. Hello, Plumcraft, Graham, Mary, Richard. I caught all of your highs and good mornings earlier as well, so thank you. Hi Shirley-Ann, hi Norman. Good to see everyone. There's lots of you in here today. I don't know how the weather is in your area, but it's pretty warm up here in North Yorkshire, so we're feeling the heat. Looks like the rain's about to come though, so it won't be long before we see thunderstorms. Hope everyone's doing well. Great that you've been able to block out a little bit of time for us this morning, because we've got an essential webinar for you today. So if you don't know already, my name is Matt Wiles. I'm the operations manager here at InfoServe. And I've got the team with me today. And first of all, got, as you can see, he's right there, Daniel Lescano, who is the head of our Google Ads and Microsoft Ads team here at InfoServe. Hi, Dan.
Hi, Matt. Hi, everyone. Very happy to be here.
Good to see you, Dan. Thanks for joining. And then we've got Sam as well, our head of social media. We all know Sam.
Hello. Sorry I'm late. My internet is playing silly buggers.
No worries. Don't worry about it, Sam. It looks like everyone's here. We're ready to go. So it's a couple of minutes past 11. We always give a little bit of time for late joiners to arrive. So if you have just joined, like I say, my name's Matt Wiles. I've got the team here, Dan and Sam. And we're going to start with, I'm going to start with a little kind of introduction, and then Dan is going to do a little bit of talking about remarketing and retargeting through Google, maybe a bit of Bing in there as well. But if you don't know Dan's been in previous webinars quite a long time ago. Dan has years and years of experience working in PPC, working closely with Google, the team at King's Cross, London. And if you haven't seen their office at King's Cross, next time you're in King's Cross, check out the Google office. It is huge. It's just getting built. You'll see it as you're coming into London, King's Cross. So Dan works very closely with the team in London and the Microsoft team as well. Dan has years of experience, like I say, working with thousands of businesses just like yours. So he manages, him and his team effectively manage campaigns for many, many hundreds of small businesses in the UK. So Dan's got all the historic knowledge, insights, data. Dan, I don't know if you mind me saying, but I think you're one of the best guys in the UK at PPC. You're one of the best campaign managers. So you've certainly come close to being, you came second, you and your team, in the recent years in Google when they looked at campaign optimization. So you and your team are doing a great job. We're going to crack on and we're going to show you some really interesting things today about remarketing. Just wanted to introduce the guys properly there, and some of you have not seen Dan before. So thanks for joining. And by the way, if you are an InfoServe customer, it is Dan and his team that manage your PPC campaign. So the beauty of working with InfoServe is we don't outsource our work. Many agencies, and indeed even our friends at agencies locally, they outsource their work. There's nothing particularly wrong with that, but we like to keep it all in-house. So Dan and his team are based in Leeds, North Leeds, at our head office, and they are the guys that manage your campaign. You can speak to them directly if you want to. If you want to ring InfoServe, speak to InfoServe, speak to Dan, speak to anyone in his team, we are happy to speak to you. That's the beauty of working with InfoServe. It's all in-house. It's all Yorkshire-based, and it's just us guys. We don't outsource any work. So we're able to all join webinars like this. Now, I just want to start the webinar by saying that this is obviously about remarketing and retargeting. So I'm going to come to that in a moment, but you might have seen my email that I sent you, and I'm really sorry for bombarding you guys with emails leading up to these webinars. But 95% of first-time visitors do not convert. What does that mean? What does that mean? And this is Google. This is data we've got from Google. It means that people that land on your website and are looking for services that you offer and find your website, they don't turn into conversions. They don't inquire with you. They don't call you up. They don't fill out a form on your website. What are they doing? Well, let's have a look at that. So we start with the customer journey or the consumer journey. And we've looked at this before in previous webinars, but remarketing plays a huge part in the consumer journey. We've really focused on how you can get found on Google and Bing. So that's the discovery stage. So hopefully we're all getting good now at knowing how we can get our website found, how we improve our Google My Business. Have you looked at your Bing Places listing? Have you even checked out your Apple Maps listing? Have you optimized that with all the data that it needs? So the discovery stage is really, really important. Getting found when people are looking for the services that you offer. Okay, so we've also looked at, going through these different stages from reviews to people checking you out on social media. Many people check reviews before they make a decision. And this consumer journey is all about the touch points that people go through before they actually pick up the phone to you, book on your website, buy a product off your website, whatever it is, that's the conversion for you, whatever that conversion looks like. People are going through different touch points and they're on different devices. Right. Okay. So, we're looking at mobile phone devices. We're looking at the tablet devices, the laptop kind of, I'm on a laptop at the moment. Everybody uses different devices. They say that there's at least 3 different types of devices per household. And now there's more, from Xboxes to PlayStations to TVs to smart speakers. We're all using different devices. And this consumer journey can go up to 90 days.
Can anybody hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay.
Sam. I think Matt's is
dead.
having some connections there. Let me just let him know quickly. Just a sec.
Cool. Can everybody hear me and Dan? Yes, fantastic. Okay. Matt was basically saying the first touch point is obviously getting people through to your website, getting them to discover you as a business. And then once they are there, they aren't likely to convert into a customer. And the reason being, if you interact with any business for the first time, would you put your money with that business? I mean, you're not likely to. You want to discover a bit more about it. So this is where remarketing comes in, because the first touch point is, please help.
Yeah. It is basically it is a complex journey, and it's got more and more complex lately. Like Matt was saying and mentioning the very many different devices that are connected to the internet these days, from Alexa to traditional computers, but also TVs and of course, smartphones. And when considering a product or a service, we never complete the full journey on one device. Just think about it. Probably the exception, there's always exceptions to everything. The exception would be, say, for example, if you're looking for a taxi, you just pick up your phone, call, or search on your smartphone browser and dial the number. That is probably the simplest, shortest user journey you can think of. But then in most scenarios, we're talking about a much more complex user journey. And that goes from browsing a website on your laptop, then bookmarking it, going back to it later at lunchtime from your smartphone device, then letting it sit there for a few days to keep on doing some research, considering some alternatives, going back to the website again, and so on and so forth. So before the conversion happens, this is how we call the end goal of any marketing enterprise. That is a phone call, the sales lead. It can be a form fill or a purchase online or a visiting store. Before that happens, users have gone through a very complex journey these days, visiting your website and other websites from different devices, and that's the complexity of the journey these days. Hello, Matt.
Wow. Sorry, I was talking away for quite a while there. Sorry, guys.
I sent you a message, but
I was. You can. Hopefully you can see my screen here. Did you get to see this bit here? Were you looking at this bit?
The discovery and the user journey. So you were making a point about the complexity of the user journey, how very many different devices use these days.
Wow,
I think that was about it. So
okay, maybe might help if just whilst I do this bit, if you guys turn off the video, but keep your sound on just so you can alert me to any
I will turn it off.
Sorry, guys. I think I was up to this point, but wow, I've just been talking for 5 minutes on my own. Do give it a shout out, Dan or Sam, if it happens again. But I was just basically saying that, it's a complex journey, and people are checking you out across all of these different platforms. Now, whether it be that they're finding you on Google or they're looking at your reviews on Trustpilot, Facebook, and then they go back to Google and they do a search for your brand. So that people towards the end of this journey will go to Google or Bing and actually type in your business name. So how does it all look? Well, even if you've got the best look online. So, for example, you might be getting found on Google and Bing. You might be coming up at the top or on the first page. Great. Your reviews might be 5 out of 5. Brilliant. Well done. And social media looks great. Your brand on Google and Bing looks fantastic. Your website looks brilliant. You will still be losing inquiries. So, guys, I don't think we got to this bit, did we?
No, we didn't.
Okay. So, just to remind everyone, 97% of website visitors don't convert to an inquiry. So they don't pick up the phone, they don't fill in a form. And indeed, you'll never see those conversions. Even if you've got the best setup out there. Even if your reviews, your brand looks absolutely fantastic, 5 out of 5. You're still losing conversions. And this is a huge problem for small business owners. Okay, so I'll just check in and make sure everything's all good on the chat. Everything looks good. Everyone's okay. Right. So I'll just reiterate this. That the big problem for small business owners is you're losing those people that didn't convert. So those visitors to your website, the 97% don't end up converting into an inquiry. They're getting distracted. They're looking at your competition. They just forget about you, right? Okay. And so throughout this journey, they're dropping off and you're losing those conversions. But obviously, we've talked about your brand as well. Just looking at the brand one there, when someone does a search on Google for your business name or they're just looking at your website, We've looked in the past at how your brand looks on Google, you know, whether it be the street view, you know, and I was just saying this when I cut off, I think, but, you know, make sure that even the smallest things like the street view is looking smart and professional, because there's nothing worse than when you do a search for your business name on Google and you've got a view, it says view out, there's a kind of view outside street view look, and it's like a back alley in the middle of nowhere. You know, that is one of the worst things that can represent your business in terms of brand and professionalism. So make sure all those little things are up to date. But even if you've got that all up to date, even if you're looking really good, like I say, you will still lose conversions. This isn't a big problem for the big brands. The big brands are not losing as many conversions as you as small business owner. Why is that? Well, the big brands, you know, the brands we know, maybe Sainsbury's, Amazon's, all the way down to, you know, even some bigger local businesses like kitchen companies or some of the bigger kind of nationwide plumbers. They're not losing so many conversions. They've got this bit nailed, and it's down to remarketing and retargeting. So the bigger brands know about this kind of secret of plugging the lost conversions. But smaller business owners are, you know, leaking these conversions left, right, and center. And you won't even know about it, unfortunately, unless you're really tracking everyone that lands on your website and all that little detail. You won't be realizing how many potential inquiries and conversions. Okay. So people are checking out your website and then they're dropping off your website and they're never coming back. Some of them, you know, you're not even getting that inquiry. And this is most people. So the concern is that most people forget about you afterwards. Most people get distracted. Most people put themselves off. I mean, look, how many times have we been on a website? You know, as a consumer, I do this. You will do it. And we'll go on a website and we'll look at it. Yeah, I like that. I'll have to come back to this and book it or look at that another time. We go off the website, something else happens in our life, and we never go back to it, or we leave it for weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks. Oops, knocking everything over. So we're leaving it for weeks and weeks. So yeah, we all do it. People research and look at your competitors, and you lose that conversion. Most people do this, and most small business owners don't know about this problem. This is kind of what we're getting at today. And so this is just a bit of an eye-opener, hopefully, today, and it's a bit of an introduction to this. We're obviously not going to be able to show you every last detail, but we're going to try and start this, and then we'll help you along in future webinars as well. But most business owners don't know what to do about this problem. They don't even know about the problem. And most businesses are losing inquiries. In fact, it's many inquiries. So I would hazard a guess, just in our 20-odd years working in digital marketing, for most businesses in this webinar today, you are losing many, many inquiries on a weekly, monthly basis because of the lack of remarketing and retargeting. Because most small businesses don't have remarketing set up. Okay, so with that in mind, what is remarketing? Well, it's very, very simple. Remarketing is just essentially when someone visits your website. Oops. I'll just bring that back up. When someone visits your website, they usually leave your website without converting. And you'll never probably see those guys again, those people again, and you won't get that conversion. What remarketing does is it shows like an ad to those people that left your website and didn't potentially convert. And it shows a really, really important ad, a banner, to those people. And what that does, it's so psychologically, it's huge. What that does, it just reminds people, oh, you know, when you see those ads, that business that you were looking at the other day or the other week, or you see that pair of shoes, or you see that trip that you were looking at, and you're reminded of that bit of information that you were viewing just the other day or the other week. And that really triggers something. So these remarketing ads trigger a thought, an action within the consumer. And that consumer is then quite likely to then just click on that ad, click on that banner, or just return to that website, okay, and return to what they were looking at. It's just a reminder almost. And then you can convert them into customers. And those are customers that you were losing. You're churning all these potential customers. You know, they're all
Is he
Matt
gone again for everyone?
He's gone again. Yeah, let me just drop him a message and hopefully you'll see it. Just to keep on developing on the idea of what's for marketing and like Matt has said, it's basically adding an element of insisting and showing, keep on showing your ads to, not to any user, but those users who have already visited your website. And those who have already shown an interest. There you are.
So really sorry, guys. I'm obviously having some Wi-Fi. Sam, we're in the same boat, having some Wi-Fi issues today.
Yeah.
Really sorry about that. I don't think that's ever happened. So there's a first for everything. So if you just joined these webinars for the first time, well, this is the first time we've ever had Wi-Fi issues of this nature. So really sorry about that. But looks like everything's okay, right, guys?
Yeah.
Everything's okay. Okay. So just really briefly, what a remarketing ad does is it triggers something in people's minds. It psychologically triggers that reminder that, oh yeah, I need to get that sorted. But what it also can do, you could use your remarketing ad to throw an offer out there. So, for example, someone's been on your website and not converted. You could put something like, hey, we're sorry to see you leave without, I don't know, calling us, for example. How about 5% off? If you give us a call and we'll give you 5% off, or come back and we'll give you 10% off, or something like that. So you can really trigger people to take action. But remarketing, guys, I think this is where you saw last, right? This is where we're up to?
Yeah.
Brilliant. Okay, and this is basically what the ads look like. All right, so just in some basic form, this is what the ad, different types of ads on different devices at different times. Remember, I talked about the consumer journey. Well, here is where it fits into the consumer journey. It is really powerful because it's going to be adapting to different devices in different places. Okay, so let's just get started with the actual how-to bit. Where do you get started as a small business owner? Dan, do you want to just take it away for a bit?
Sure. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Okay,
thanks,
so I'll
Matt.
just put there we go.
So let's get started. So yeah, that's a great overview and to the point of what remarketing is, but specifically how it fits in the user journey. That's very important understanding.
If you can put your video back as well, Dan, that would be lovely as well.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Okay, and then go ahead and share your screen.
Yeah. So yeah, again, following from your idea, so is a very effective way of marketing, of advertising, a very good element to add, of course, to your campaigns. And you've already explained the reasons why it fits really well in the user journey. So let's just jump on to the Google Ads interface. This is, this is a practical demo for you to really learn how to set it up. And we'll then, after looking at the different ways you can set up remarketing and add remarketing to your campaigns, I'll show you a few techniques and with remarketing and how to make the most of it. So let me just share my screen with you. So very quickly, first thing is, of course, you like to add remarketing to your campaigns, to your Google Ads campaigns. Everything that I'm going to say is equally applicable to Microsoft Advertising as well. There's a few differences with the labeling of options, but that's all. You tell me if you can see my screen.
Not yet, Dan. No, we just
not yet. Okay.
It's just the button at the top to share. Yeah. Should be. You get a notification to allow share screen as well.
Yeah, I'm clicking on it. Hold on a second. Maybe perhaps.
Just whilst you're sorting that then, guys, what I'll do is Yeah, so a couple of questions came in privately, actually, so they weren't in the chat. But, yeah, first of all, Sean, just one there at the end, that we are recording this, so you will get a recording sent to you. The other thing I was, someone asked me earlier is, in terms of remarketing, do you need to be actually paying for Google Ads at the same time? Well, not necessarily. So remarketing, guys, really easy to set up. At least you need to add the codes and the tracking code to your website, which can be done for free, basically. And indeed, we can help you with that. So all of this that you've seen today is a bit of an eye-opener, but if you want us to help you with that, we can do that for free as well. So what we're going to say to you is, anyone wants us to set up the remarketing on your website, we can help you with that today. Now, what it will involve is just putting a code. It's a tracking code that goes on your website. And what that will do is it will be tracking everybody that looks at your website. So it will be building a list of people that have joined and looked at your website. So when you go onto websites and it says cookies, you get a cookie notification where it's like, do you allow cookies on this website? That's basically what the remarketing tracking code is using. It's using cookies to track your behavior on site. We can see your screen now, Dan, as well. So that's
you can.
It's a little bit blurry, but
yeah. What I would need to confirm, if you would please, Matt, is that you are seeing my Chrome browser. That's the important bit. Let me just.
I think we did. Yeah, I think we did there.
You did see my Chrome browser here. Can you see it now?
Yeah, you can see it now. Yeah.
The Google Ads interface. Yeah.
Yeah.
Brilliant. There we are. So,
okay.
Well, then let's go on to that. Sorry about the delay. So, I just need to change the browser. That's all. So let's jump onto it. So let's go ahead and show you precisely what you were mentioning right now: how to add the remarketing tags, how to create a remarketing list, and to add it to your campaign. So when we say, or perhaps sometimes we mention a remarketing campaign, there's no such a thing really. It's just adding a remarketing list, which is the list of those users who have visited your website, added to an existing campaign. And that can be either a display campaign or a search campaign. I show you what the difference is about the adding to a display campaign, adding a remarketing list to a search campaign, a few techniques again on how to best use remarketing with those. But again, let's just go ahead and show you how to basically create and add your remarketing list to your campaign. So this is the Google Ads interface. You are familiarized with this already. This is the main dashboard, and you will have created already some campaigns, a display campaigns, which you'll have here, and then your search campaigns. And usually when creating a display campaign, if I create a display campaign specifically for the purpose of adding a remarketing list, then I will label it differently. It's good to be organized with your labeling, because over time you're going to keep on adding campaigns, ad groups, and it's good to know what's what and to be clear with that. Be well organized with your campaign structure. So here we are. I've just created a display campaign. And I've labeled it remarketing, since the purpose of it is to add a remarketing list to it, and again show those ads specifically to those users who have visited your website, and in principle only to those users. So what we do then, you will have created your display banner ad, and Matt just shown some examples of banner ads. I can show you a few examples here as well, and how they look like basically. So these are the type of banners that you'll see on different websites across the internet. So once you have created your remarketing list, add them to your campaigns, these ads that you are seeing now, and let me show you some desktop versions of those, some very many different variations. You're going to see these all across the internet. You're going to see them on online newspapers. You're going to see them on very many different websites, on YouTube and so on. And these ads that you are seeing now are the type of ads that you're going to see on those websites. So again, let's go ahead and add a remarketing list to this campaign. You will have created already your creative, your assets, and now you go to this section here. This is the section that you want to be looking for audiences. Remarketing lists are a type of audience, and these days we have very many different ones. Probably Matt has spoken to you about this in the past, and probably will revisit it again in some future webinars. And remarketing lists are a specific type of audience. So basically a list of users that meet some profile and that you want to use in order to target your ads. And it's very simple. You head to this section of your display campaign audiences, and you want to add an audience. You select your ad group, in this case, the display ad group for this campaign, and you have very many different options here. Again, we've talked in the past about in-market audiences, affinity audiences, custom audiences, and so on. It'll take very long to go through these very many different types, but specifically want to add a remarketing list, and here's the option. So after clicking on audiences, you head to browse, and then you're going to see here your option based on how users interacted with your business, marketing and similar audiences. You click in here, and this is the list that you want to target, website visitors. Now, you have two different options here. I'm going to click on this one. I'll go back to, you can have a remarketing list created from analytics, but we're going to keep it simple this time. And we're just going to choose the all visitors that came from Google Ads. And let me just mention quickly about these two options up here. You have two options for targeting users with your remarketing list. The first one is targeting, and this one is just to, again, show your ads exclusively to those users who have visited your website. So this is the option that you want to choose when, particularly for a remarketing list that you are wanting to add to a display campaign. I'll later talk about this option. I'm going to keep it simple now, and later on, when showing you how to add it to a search campaign, I'll talk briefly about this other option that we have here. But let's go ahead and add the remarketing list. And boom, there you have it. You've already added a remarketing list to your display campaign. This is right now a remarketing display campaign. So this campaign and the ads that showed you a minute ago will be shown only to those users who have visited your website. But there's a caveat to that. You still need to add, like Matt mentioned earlier, you need to add a snippet of code to your website. Where to find that snippet of code? Let me just show you again. So I was on the screen where we had created our remarketing list. So this is our remarketing campaign. We clicked on audiences. We created this specific remarketing list, and now we click on it, and we head to audience sources. Matt, you tell me if you are following me till now, if there's no sound problems or anything. So, yeah. And then you have very many different options. I'll mention this one later, but here you have the Google Ads tag. You click on details and scroll down to the bottom, and you're going to see this option here, tag setup. And now you're going to have another three options. Now, you can either click the first option, install the tag yourself. This is where, if you have access to the back end of your website, you can access the content management system, as we call it. You can access the admin panel, or you can access the files of your website. You'll need to copy this snippet of code here.
Dan, would you be able to would you be able to share your screen again? So it just went off for me, if that's okay. One quick question, Dan, while you're doing that, you know how many, so you've got this tag on your website, how many people do you need to start then remarketing? Does that make sense? Is there a specific number of people, or does it start, do your remarketing ads start showing straight away, for example?
No, that's a very good question, a very good point. You do need to wait a bit because the marketing list needs to have a specific size, as we call it, in order for remarketing to kick in. You tell me if you can see my screen again now, no problem.
Yeah, that's all good. Okay, so
list sizes vary because it'll depend on the network where the ads are going out to. And so, for example, in this specific case where we are attaching a remarketing list to a display campaign, the number of users that need to be in that remarketing list is 100. If you were to attach the remarketing list to a search campaign, as we'll show you in a minute, then the list size changes greatly. It's 1,000 users that you'll need. But then there's small difference. Sometimes Google is a bit picky about the marketing list size, and we've seen in many different cases that the required number is 150, is 200. It simply depends on the user profile and the other targeting methods that you may have used with that specific campaign. So a ballpark figure, a number would be 100. I would expect it to need at least 100 users for remarketing to kick in.
So guys, so basically you add that code, we add the code to the website, and essentially you're done for a good amount of time. So what I was saying before about losing customers, potential customers, conversions, adding this code to your website tracks those first-time website visitors, right? So those first-time website visitors that you were losing, they're getting tracked on a list, basically. Now, that list grows and grows and grows and grows, and as soon as it hits 100 people, you're then able to start showing ads to those people, and then obviously future people that land on your website. So that's what it's doing. It's building up a list, and it's building up a list of those first-time website visitors that you lost. Unfortunately, Dan, the screen's a bit blurry.
Right.
But so what you've done
Let me close other applications just
it's okay. What you've done there is you've shown us how to actually that's a bit better actually, but you've shown us how to add it for not just organic traffic, basically to collect all the traffic. So in terms of search, Google Ads, for example, how would you do it there? What would you do?
Yeah, so like I said, for a search campaign, the size, the list size varies greatly, and so in that case, you'll need about 1,000 users. Now, it's difficult sometimes for some campaign sizes and budgets to have 1,000 users coming only from Google Ads. And so you need to leverage on the organic traffic as well, like you just mentioned. And so it is best sometimes to create your marketing list in a way that it will include in the list not only traffic coming from Google Ads, but also from other channels, like organic, direct, and so on. And for that, it's best to create your list from Google Analytics. Let me just cover quickly the other option. I think is much easier, perhaps, if you have Google Tag Manager, because many website owners perhaps don't have sometimes access to the back end of the website, or don't feel comfortable adding a code to the HTML code of a website. This is a more straightforward way of adding this snippet of code, which is using Google Tag Manager. In that case, if you do have Google Tag Manager added to your website, you only need to copy the conversion ID and then head to your Google Tag Manager. And I'm going to go quickly through these. Hopefully, you can then revisit the video when you sit down in front of your computer and want to do it. So basically, on your tag manager, you click on Create a Tag, and you are going to create a new tag configuration. And you're going to have the option here to add the remarketing tag basically. So you click on this option, and all you need to do is paste the conversion ID. Just copy it from here, if I can copy it correctly. You paste your conversion ID, and don't worry about any other options here. You go straight ahead and save it, and that's it.
That's brilliant. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
really simple. That's actually really simple. And,
yeah, it is. It is very simple.
I mean, I don't get involved in these kind of day-to-day things, guys. But as a small business owner, that seemed really, that would seem really simple to me and really easy to do. I mean, it's free, isn't it, Dan? It's free, right?
Yeah, Google Tag Manager is completely free. Of course,
So,
this you need to have it installed on your website, and there's no way around adding Google Tag Manager without adding 2 tags to your website. So you will need somebody to add the tag in the first place. So then adding any other tags to your website gets much easier, but you need to have Google Tag Manager in the first place, and that does involve adding 2 snippets of code to your website. But once you have Google Tag Manager added to your website, as you can see, it only takes 1-2 minutes to add other tags, such as the Google Ads Remarketing tag.
Yeah, just for you're just going to go into a bit more of the detail there, but a couple of questions that came in I thought were really useful for this moment is that Thomas was just asking what is the best way to check the number of website visitors so you can see if you have enough for your campaign. So first of all, what is the best way of checking that list size?
You'll see it here in your in the audience manager. Once you click on it, here you're going to see your list sizes. As like I mentioned earlier, here you have your display list size, and then for search. Again, this is just an empty account that I'm using for demonstration purposes. So, but you'll have all the numbers here, and you can check the list size on this dashboard. So basically what you do is, again, you head to your audience section, and then click on the specific audience list, and boom, you're going to have here the list sizes.
Okay. Just whilst I pick up another question, Dan, actually, would you be able to turn your video off? If you can go back to the thing and just turn your video off, because it is a bit blurry. A couple of guys, I recognise that it's a bit blurry for some of you.
It might be worthwhile us doing some screen recordings, and we'll put them in the Facebook group.
Yeah, that's a good point. So what we'll do afterwards, we'll screen record this, guys. So we'll do a quick walkthrough of this.
Yeah.
And that's a very good point, Sam. We'll stick it in the Facebook group. So if you guys aren't part of the Facebook group, I'll just share the link in the webinar at the top now, so you can join and watch the actual recording of our screen, and Dan will go through that for you. So it's just at the top of the webinar there. So. Yeah, Dan, in fact, I think I can turn your video off anyway. Don't worry, I've done it. Okay,
hopefully it'll be a bit better now.
Yeah, it's a bit better now. In terms of the questions that are coming in, there's really good ones. How can you target people that have viewed a specific page? That's a good question from Andrew. How do you target people that have visited a specific page on your website? And Jen followed that question up, saying it seems to be a very broad range audience. Many visitors go to a website for a specific product, like red running shoes. Showing an ad for your website might not be very attractive. You want to show an ad for, here's the red running shoes that you were looking at. So guys, just to say, we're showing you a very basic setup right now. So this is very kind of broad, very basic. What we do as a company, if we're working with an e-commerce client like that, so if you sell red running shoes, for example, we'd be putting tracking codes. We'd be actually tracking those specific product views. So we'd be actually tracking specific page actions, form fills, or product views, so that those consumers would see specific ads for those pages or products, and we'll dive into that now, Dan. So those are a couple of questions that are linked there. How do you track specific pages and products, for example?
Yep, I was about to show you guys that. So let's jump onto it. So how do you again show? And that's a good way of using your remarketing campaign or your remarketing list is to target users that have visited a specific page. Might be somebody who visited the checkout page and then abandoned the process. So you want to remind them about that. And so you want to specifically target users who visited that specific page, the checkout page of your e-commerce site, for example. And well, you do that using or creating your remarketing list from Google Analytics. Like I said, with the Google Ads tag that we've just added, you'll be collecting users or adding users from Google Ads, but you may want to add any user that visited your website, regardless of the channel that it came from. And so you'll need to create your marketing list from Google Analytics. So let's just jump onto that. So you are on your Google Analytics interface. You will click on the admin section, the cogwheel here at the bottom left. And then in the property section, you're going to define some audience. You click
definition.
on audience definitions. And so the first time around, when you create a new audience, you're only going to have one option, which is all users. It won't let you add specifically users who visited one page. You'll need to create first the all users list. And then after having created this one, then you can create another one specifically for those who visited a specific page. So here you have audience definition, and you'll have the option by default here, users who visited a specific section of my site. You go in here, and then you'll need to click on the pencil here and add the URL, the specific unique URL parameter for that page. Usually it contains the word checkout, but you'll need to make sure that you're adding the unique parameter. Make sure that the parameter is unique to the page that you're wanting to add visitors from, because otherwise you'll have duplicated and visitors coming from other pages. So check that this is the right parameter to add in here. Then you apply it, save it. You may want to keep the member duration to 30. Usually it's up to 90 days. You want to name visitors or checkout page visitors. And you just basically save it, publish it. Destinations, you'll need to add your Google ID, your Google Ads ID in this case. So you search for this one. Here you have it. Add at least one destination, and you publish it.
Okay. I mean that's
so that's it. So that's it. Then basically you need to head back to your Google Ads. Make sure that you are linking your Google Ads to your Google Analytics. So you'll need to find your Google Analytics here. If you are logged in with the same user, you'll immediately see it here. So then you go back, link your Google Ads account to your Google Analytics. Then there's still one more step. You'll need to go back again to audiences and add a specific audience list. Go all the way through the process that I've just shown you, and you'll see the list here. So once you've done that, allow for a few hours. I will sometimes give it a day for analytics to speak to Google Ads. Sometimes it takes a bit of time, but then you'll see that specific list, the visitors to the checkout page, appearing here, and then you can click, save it, and there you go. You're ready to target only visitors who visited that specific page.
Okay, that is really useful. In fact, that's one of the most. I think if anyone can implement that, so if any of you guys in this webinar can actually go through that process. I mean, obviously you might want to watch this back in our recording, but if you do implement this, then wow, the impact this could have on your business is genuinely phenomenal. We've been doing these webinars for 3-4 months now, and I'll always highlight when something's essential, and I highlighted this one as essential because we would always do this if we're running if we want to capture lost conversions, and this is the way to do it. And so that's a quick overview of how you can track specific pages or specific areas on your website. I mean, Dan, what I'll say is, I think we've got that. But if you could, what we'll do for everyone is, if you join that Facebook group, guys, if you're not already in that Facebook group, do make sure to join that link at the top of the chat. Dan will just run through that one more time after the webinar. He'll record his screen. If you could just quickly do that, Dan, record his screen, and then we'll drop it in the webinar. I think that would be really useful, just so you've all got to kind of back up and we can all view that again. So that is really, really useful. What I'll say, Dan, is if that's okay, we'll kind of pause there on your bit, if that's okay, because I think that's just with golden nuggets of information there, and I just want to keep it bite-sized today. So a couple of questions as well, and these are really relevant questions. Can you select the best visitors, e.g., who stayed on the website the longest?
Yeah, sure. So again, analytics, I've just shown you one specific way of defining an audience, but then you can define an audience in this instance by the criteria is visitors who visited one page, but then you can define the audience based on visit duration, goal completions, for example, as defined in Google Analytics. So, for example, people who already made a conversion, made a purchase. You don't want to follow with remarketing ads those users. They've already made a conversion, or you want to tailor the offer to those users. And in that case, you can include or exclude users who already made a conversion, who stayed, again, on your website for longer, who so you can play with very many different criteria to add and define an audience, a remarketing list, and then add it to your Google Ads and target those users specifically.
And there's a couple of questions around. So we're getting private questions and public ones. So I'll try and answer in a sort of generic way. Yes, you can change the number of times someone sees an ad or the duration. So a duration of how long those ads are up there for. So your remarketing ads will show to people that visit your website. You can change the amount of times, duration that people see those ads, so you're not constantly bombarding them with those ads. So yeah, we've shown you kind of basic way of doing it down to a specific way, and I think this is kind of a good introduction to remarketing. What we were also going to do today, and Sam's probably laughing now, because we were also going to show you the Facebook ads side of things. And how you can remarket through Facebook ads. Because Sam, what I'd suggest then, because we've kind of gone over time a little bit here with a few technical issues as well. Sam, what about we do a separate webinar for that, or even we'll Sam, why don't we do it in the Facebook group separately, and we'll
I mean, we can do a full session. I can go a bit more in depth into the pixel setup as well.
So let's do it in the Facebook group. Well, guys, what we'll do is we'll do maybe a live. We'll do a live thing in the Facebook group, Sam, me and you, or something like that. And so everyone that's in the Facebook group can rewatch and do one. We can do one on Facebook ads and how you remarket Facebook. It really is, again, it can start off really simple from adding a code. It's a pixel code to your website. And I just encourage everyone to look at these, Google Tag Manager for remarketing, and then Facebook Pixel for Facebook remarketing. Get those installed on your website because you want to start tracking visitors. You want to start tracking those visitors now if you can. Hang on a second. Let me just let me see if I can share my screen again. I think it's echoing a bit. Let me see if I can share my screen, guys. 1 second. There's all sorts of technical today, isn't there?
It's the sun. The internet wants to go outside and play.
It's definitely the sun. Reopening the application. I'm reopening my presentation. Bear with me. So what I was going to say once this comes up is how do these ads look? Well, in terms of a live example, a real example, I mean, here we go. You should be able to see that. This is how an ad would look on a website. So this is, for example, Yorkshire Post, and you can see those ads for Age Partnership, and you can see that those are remarketing ads, and there's different types of ads that, in terms of sizing, etc. There's ways that you can do this automatically as well, so it will resize automatically your ad. So yeah, very, very simple. Now, Dan, these are just some final benefits to the different types of, just really quickly, you've got the display campaign and then you've got search campaign.
Very quickly, because I guess we run out of a bit of time, but we'll show you all these, and also a few techniques to use with remarketing. Some of the benefits quickly. I mentioned earlier that 2 options: the targeting, Microsoft advertising, they call it bid only, and the observation, Microsoft call it target and bid. Basically, again, for a display campaign, usually you'll be using targeting. So you show those banner ads to the users who visited your website or a specific page or made a specific conversion on your site. And there are some benefits. Of course, those users have already visited your website. They've already shown some interest in your products and services. And so you will see that the click-through rate, CTR, is usually higher for those ads. So as soon as you add a remarketing list to a campaign, either search or display, you will see that the CTR greatly improves. So that's one of the benefits. Of course, also you'll see higher conversion rates. Again, those users already showed an interest in your products and services, and so you'll see that the conversion rate of those specific campaigns with a remarketing list will be higher. And again, same thing for search campaign. You can attach a remarketing list to a search campaign. We'll go again about the details of what observation only means, but basically what you want to do in a search campaign is not to exclude or I should say target exclusively visitors to your website. You want to target those and any other users who are searching for your services on Google or Bing. And then you just want to gather the data. You just want to get some data, and in the light of data, there's loads of things you can do with that. But again, the benefits are the same. You have higher CTR, lower CPC tends to be, because usually since you are acquiring a better click-through rate and better conversion rates, those users already visited your website, your quality score will go up. If your quality score goes up, your CPC will tend to go down. So you can save some money by adding a remarketing list to your search campaign. So those are some of the more specific benefits, really. But I think, those are basically the ones.
The difference between search and display for business owners watching this, display is the banners, the visual banners that you see across the web, and search campaign is literally, the search ads that you see in the Google and Bing search results, so text-based ads. So those are kind of like the basic differences between the two. Just to reiterate what Dan's saying there, if this creates a higher click-through rate, a higher click-through rate means it can lower the CPC, because if you're running an ad campaign, you want to get a good click-through rate, because that means you've got a quality campaign. Google and Bing think, okay, this is a quality campaign, so the cost per click lowers, but your position might actually even increase as well in the search results. So there's loads and loads of benefits there. We won't go through all of this because we've run out of time, but what we'll do is we'll leave it on the screen for anyone watching this back on recording. You obviously can see and read through this list here that just helps you with any sort of with the remarketing techniques. So we'll leave this on screen for anyone recording, watching the recording, and what we'll do is we'll elaborate on some of this in our Facebook bit. So Dan's gonna screen share, record his screen and go through remarketing setup, and then put that video in the Facebook group, and he'll mention about this as well, the techniques that you can implement on remarketing. So five really big tips and techniques there for remarketing. And overall, in summary, what we'd always recommend is that this plays just one part of your holistic approach to marketing. You should never just rely on one channel of marketing. So you shouldn't just be relying on Google My Business or organic SEO. You should really be looking into ads, Facebook, social, remarketing, obviously, etc., etc. There's all these different channels that you should be putting your time or investment into. Now, if you're still with us, thank you so much. We know it's a warm day, and we'll let you go in 30 seconds. But before we do, here is an unmissable opportunity. What we're going to say to everyone that's joined this webinar is, if you'd like us to set this up for you, we can do that. And we can set up an ad account and the remarketing structure as well. So, hopefully this is a nice introduction to remarketing. It's kind of opens some eyes to thinking, okay, this is an essential part of running a business. I really do think this is an essential part of running a business, but it's overlooked by so many small business owners. So if any small businesses enable this, get this going, activate this, you are so far ahead of your competition. It's unreal. So I can't reiterate that enough. So we're offering, because so many of you have joined us for so many weeks now, we're going to offer a free setup of this. Obviously, it would be set up on our account. You would have full access to that. You'd be able to see everything going on, etc., etc. We would just set it up for you, and we'll set up the remarketing, and then we're good to go. Now, if you want to put any ad spend into that, that's entirely down to you. Obviously, we can help you with the ad spend. We'll manage that ad spend for you, but we'll set it up for free. So that's the good news. But like I say, if you want to put any ad spend in, we've got some second bit of good news today is that we've only just arrived our vouchers. So I emailed many of you not long ago saying we've got a handful of £325 vouchers. So we do have a handful more of those, luckily, and I don't know how long those will last for, but we ran out of the last bunch. So we have now got some back in. Obviously, with that, there's some ad spend that you would need to put in. So you'd need to put in a bit of ad spend. I think it's even just 150 quid a month or something like that. So you just need, but we'd always recommend as much as you can put in, as much budget. The more budget you put in, the more inquiries you'll get. The more times people will see your ads, the more times they'll see your remarketing ads. So the bigger the budget, the more it benefits you. And so we've got those vouchers. We'll add that voucher credit to your spend. So that's it, basically. It works in two ways. Free setup. We'll get it all set up for you. And then when you're ready to go, we can add some ad spend, and you can put obviously your contribution in, and we'll put £325 of our contribution in, and then we're good to go. What a way to really kickstart any small business and get ahead of the competition. If you are interested in that, last note, pop your email in the chat if you're interested. You can do that privately, by the way, so you can send a message on chat privately, or you just whack it in there publicly if you don't mind. It's up to you. But just pop your email in the chat now if you're interested in one of those, the free setup, for example, and one of my team guys will get back to you, today, if not tomorrow, kind of latest. Just pop your email in the chat and we'll get it sorted for you. So thank you so much for joining this webinar. It is a crazy intense webinar with technical issues as well. So really appreciate your patience today. But we've learned something. We're going to elaborate on this and go into more detail in our Facebook group. And Sam's got his whole social media part lined up as well. Luckily, we've done it. We've got the presentation ready, so we can at least show that to you in Facebook and next week's webinar. We're back next week at 11 a.m. Don't forget, remarketing is an essential part of your journey, of the consumer journey. People are looking at your website and dropping off, and they're not coming back. Many people are just not bothering to finish that journey and actually phone you or fill in a form on your website. The best way to get those people back, or to remind them even about your business, is to use remarketing. So please do consider it. Please put your email in, and we'll help you out with that if you need any help. And we'll see you next week at 11 a.m. Thank you so much for your patience this week. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you took one thing away from it. See you next week, guys, and have a lovely remainder of the day. Bye-bye. Thanks, everyone.